Welcome to the Ascend Tournament Series mainstream. I'm Spuddy FC. You're joining us here for ATS action. This is Soraxus Networks Inc. Pinnacle Cup. Again, our top division this season, sponsored by, again, Soraxus Networks Inc. Here we go. Round of 12 action has already begun in the Pinnacle Cup. We already know 6 of the 8 teams in our top 8, 4 of which, again, have already qualified through the final bar qualifier, those being Pause Up, KG Chaos, SP Golden, and the Creation Station. But for tonight, and what will be Saturday afternoon, we'll explain that match later, we've got the last 2 round of 12 matches. So it's very simple at this point. If you're a little confused about the format earlier, you won't be confused about this. Single elimination, 12 teams, meaning you lose, you're out, you win, you move on to the quarterfinals, which will be on February 6th. You'll want to join us February 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time to watch the quarterfinals of this. All matches will be on this stream. And then, of course, on February 7th, the day after, that's a Saturday, if you are paying attention, is the semifinals and finals. So our last event of the season and our last event of the Ascend Tournament Series will be here, and it's only about a week away from now, so we're getting very close to high-end action. But for now, we've got a big match on our hands. Torrent Corp takes on 100X Knight in what will be a round of 12 matchups. Torrent Corp, who competed here last season in our Apex Cup, making a run all the way to the top 4, losing to Soraxus in the semi-finals. Having now moved up to the Pinnacle Cup this season, I'm sure the org's going to be very proud of this team, because this team itself has undergone, a few changes, the big one being at the addition of July. And yet, this team has been able to find quite a good amount of success, even though this is a team that has, again, not really, I would say, had a big rank increase. Sometimes we see teams rank up a ton during the season. I'm not saying they haven't, they're a good team, but they haven't really ranked up that much, and yet they're proving they can hang in with the Pinnacle Cup, and in what is, I think, shaping up to be one of the scariest divisions for the Pinnacle Cup. We're seeing, again, a lot of top runners still at the very top. You're talking about Pause Up, that's the Shawnee State team. The Creation Station's in the top 8 again. 100X Knight is making a battle right now. KG Chaos are in. You've still got a couple new teams jumping in. SP Golden has finally made quite the run into the top 8. Portable Document Format has made their first top 8 in the Pinnacle Cup. And SP Starbreakers, so have also qualified, having a 4-0 forfeit win over the Miku Minions. Portable Document Format, by the way, having just taken down Volley Esports. So far, everybody that has been a lower seed in the top 12 has actually won. That also includes almost every match in the Phoenix Cup, or Souls Pass Phoenix Cup. All but one of those matches ended with the underdogs winning. It tells you just kind of how tough it is to recover after, taking the losses that you did in that Swiss qualifier. For Torrent Corp, unfortunately for them, a tough run for them. First, having their only win against the Miku Minions in a forfeit, but their 2 losses to Creation Station and SP Golden. They've not had exactly an easy run in that final bracket qualifier. Although, again, their matchup in the upper round 2 against SP Golden was close, a 4-2 loss. I don't think they'll be too unhappy with a result like that. Still, though, a lot of questions, I think, are on the line here. As for 100X Knights, this team has had quite a difficult season thus far. They have had not a great season overall. They've had a lot of issues. They've had a lot of, definitely a lot of issues, a lot of problems when it comes to getting things really set up and going. I think one of the things about 100X Knight this season has just been a bit of complacency. This team has definitely had their weakest performance yet in this team's history. In fact, in this team's history, even before this modern iteration of the roster, this has been their weakest regular season performance, a 4-2 record in Group B. A Group B that so far has seen no teams qualify for the top 8. Volley Esports has already been eliminated. Beantop, the number 2 seed, was eliminated. Torrent Corp, the number 3 seed, is the team that they're playing against right now. So we're guaranteed at least one team from Group B to make it. Actually, and the only other team that still potentially qualifies is Dino Squad, who we'll be seeing Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That match will also be on this channel. As we're, again, trying to get things up and running here. Our match should be beginning in just a moment. But again, I'm looking forward to what we're going to get here tonight. But again, we're getting into what will be a great best of 7, by the way, if you haven't already realized that. This is a best of 7 series. Tactical timeouts, of course, in play, as is for all best of 7 matches in the Ascent Tournament series. I think what's also important to talk about here is, again, the fact that, for, again, Hynix Knight, this is their weakest performance. I mean, you talk about last season. Last season was considered not a top-tier performance for them in the regular season, and yet they went 4-2 last season and got number 2 in their group, just behind Justice for Solo. But that was a group where again, they had 4 different teams make it to the final bracket. They had quite the battle for it. But again, I think many would consider this to be their weakest performance. I mean, they were ranked number 4 in their group. This team has always had issues with complacency in the regular season. I think this season it almost caught up to them again, having to battle the lower bracket in the lower portion of Group B. They didn't even win out in Group B easily as well. They had a 4-1 win over Valley Inferno, then lost to Portable Document format in a forfeit. They then had their win over Extraterrestrial, but for next night, this has been a shaky postseason so far. Simply put, for next night, I would not consider them a very safe team right now, as things stand. And again, Torrent Corp being some of a newcomer, a team that's trying to prove themselves, a top 8 performance here would be pretty impressive for them. And again, against the Hynix Knight team that has won the last 2 seasons, the one thing that Hynix Knight is good at, though, they are not so great in the regular season. They do get complacent, but when the pressure's on, this team's skill and their individual talent really does pull this team through. But realistically, I think for Hynix Knight, this is a season where I think the chances of them winning are even lower than they were last season. This is a team that's definitely had, last season has had, questions about whether or not the skill gap has caught up to them just yet. This season, it definitely feels like it has. And, I mean, you talk about teams like Pause Up, teams like Creation Station, teams that have, seemingly gotten better as the seasons have gone. I mean, Creation Station's 5-1, Pause Up 6-0. You're talking about teams that have seemingly gotten better since last season. Hynix Knight, I haven't really seen that from them. I think this is a team that, again, has gotten complacent and now needs to find their way back in it. But hey, the benefit of this team is when they're in playoffs, they just do not lose. They don't lose in playoffs. Hynix Knight right now seem to have, again, right now you just cannot deny what this Hynix Knight team can do. And again, I really don't think it's too unlikely to think that they can get a victory in this position. As again, we are still waiting for lobbies to be fully set. We did just have a lobby update in terms of the fact that Rocket League has just had a server update, so we are quickly trying to get that sorted out, get these teams in the match. Not only for all of you who are watching, but of course for just everyone who wants to see this series. I want to see the series as well. I don't think you want to wait and see how things are going to go, but again, I'm looking forward to what we've got here tonight. This is going to be a great match. Simply put, it should be an incredibly fun series to watch. On next night, again, taking on Torrent Corp, or more rather the other way around, Torrent Corp taking on Hynix Knight. They are the favorites in this matchup after all. So hopefully get things up and running. Server's now been made. Seems like the issues will finally be resolved here. As we'll get things underway in just a moment. All Sporty 24/7, if I could. If I could. I can't. I don't have that kind of stamina. But what I do have here is a good series for all of you. Again, best of 7 tactical timeouts are in play. And for Torrent Corp playing with their starting roster, it is Daily, July, and Swag. Swag going by the username of Volkpix. I think he may have changed his username to Volpix. He's definitely changed it a while ago. We'll see how what happens here. I think he's going to go by Vulpix, though, for tonight. But that is Swag, if you are wondering. But yeah, here we go. Things are just about ready to get started. And boy, am I looking forward to what we have here tonight for Torrent Core. Again, their full starting roster. Swag, aka Sir Swag. Going by the username of Vulpix. He's been going by that username for a little bit, so I wonder if this is a complete rebrand from him. What I can say, though, and what we are going to be guaranteed to see is a pretty good series here. As hello, Nooble. Nice to see you, my friend. Hopefully you're doing well. We're hopefully going to get things underway in just a moment. Prediction poll has closed, but again, the question I guess we have to ask ourselves is who wins this series? Can do we see someone finally defeat Hunter X Late in playoffs? Last time they got defeated in a playoff section was the most recent Amateur Rocket League Champions Cup. That was Champions Cup number 3. That was with a team of substitutes. That was playing with Crypto and Rockiers. That was not their true roster, losing to Shawnee State in a 4-0 sweep. That matchup, kind of a bit of a cop out, I would say, for them. I don't think this is really I would not consider that a true loss for this roster. I think the last team that I don't know if they've ever lost with this specific roster ever in playoffs. Again, without having to use substitutes. I don't think this is Hunter X Knight team just doesn't lose in playoffs. I mean, before that, they played obviously in Season 5. They won that. They've won Season 4. The last time I think the Hunter X Knight lost with a starting roster in playoffs, I think, was back with the old roster in Season 3, where they lost in the Grand Finals to Midwest Mafia Black. Again, that was the season before they made that change. It was Nawafi, Perscope, and Sulenz. It reminds you for that season. Since then, they just don't lose with this starting roster. With their starting roster. We'll see obviously if they're playing with that or if they're playing with Crypto tonight, but all things considered, Hunter X Knight have a lot to prove here. I mean, this is a big match for this team. And again, reminder that there is really not as much safety anymore. But again, this team just doesn't lose in playoffs. I mean, even in Season 3, even in the Paradise Cup 3, when they lost in a crazy upset to Hunter X Vagabond, even then, they found a way to do it in the lower bracket. It was 4-1, 4-1, 4-2, and 4-3. They beat KSG Chaos in the finals. This team just doesn't lose in playoffs. I don't know what it is with Hunter X Knight. They don't lose in playoffs at all. As we'll hopefully get things underway in just a moment, but I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it's a best of 7. It's a series that I think a lot of people are waiting for. And again, the way that playoffs are shaping up, reminder that this is going to get that. I mean, if Hunter X Knight wins this, we are guaranteed to see a rematch of last season's grand finals. It'll be them versus Creation Station. That was the match that ended last season. Hunter X Knight did take that series, and it was a pretty exciting matchup, all things considered. But Hunter X Knight were the better team. I don't think anyone had questions on if they were the better team that season. At least not in playoffs. I mean, it was a 4-1 victory. They made it look pretty convincing, too. Yeah, we are guaranteed to see a rematch of last season's Grand Finals if they win this thing. And Hunter X Knight, again, did play Torrent Core earlier this season. And both these teams out of Group B. That was in Week 1, and it was a 3-2 win for Hunter X Knight. It was a tough win for them. Again, this team is historically not exactly done well in the regular season. As Vulpix is saying that they did change their username here, so it's going to be Vulpix overall. Who will be the name that we'll be using for Swag. It seems like everybody might be returning and getting set. So, with that said, let's not wait too much longer, shall we? Here is Hunter X Knight jumping in with Manny Alar, Jared, and Perscope. So this is going to be their main roster, their starting roster. But no more waiting needed. Let's just get into this best of 7, alright. It's Torrent Corp on the blue, the challengers from last season's Apex Cup. They have not won. This org in Torrent Corp has been searching for victory, but on the other side, 100x Knights looking to win what would be a 3rd straight season, something that no team has ever done before in the Ascent Tournament Series. Earlier this season, we saw what is SP Echo attempt to do that. They couldn't get the win in that final bracket, losing in the semi-finals. 100x Knights, right now, still questions asked if they can even make it to the quarterfinals, but at least for now, they're off to a good start. Jared finding Manny LR. 100x Knights off to a strong start, and I wonder for this team, at least if RLCS has done any sort of a difference to this roster, if it has adjusted how this team has been essentially approaching these matches. A lot of times you'll see teams like 100x Knight get better in RLCS events because these players are as seasoned as they are, and because they've had time to practice and prepare for those tournaments. So often we see in the off-season players like 100x, at that 100x Knight caliber kind of slow down, but with the RLCS beginning, with the events that with the most recent Open 2 and with Open 3 literally starting tomorrow, you have to imagine that 100x Knight are going to be feeling quite fresh at this point. Well, the only difference is I don't know if all these 100x Knight players play on the same team for RLCS qualifiers. I have to think Torrent Corp does. I believe this team does play together. I don't know if 100x Knight does, though, but one thing that has been true about this 100x Knight team, again, is that even if they don't have a lot of time to practice, they still just rely on the individual abilities, and that's going to go in for Manny LR. What an odd goal to give up there for Torrent Corp. It was just clear down the field. It was really unassuming. And Daly, not reading it correctly, completely misjudged it. You rarely see a mistake like that at this level, and yet, here we are. Well, that's going to make things a lot worse for Torrent Corp. And I mean, you're the underdogs in this matchup. Even if you are technically the favorites by seeding, you're definitely not the favorites, I think, in anybody's eyes. I don't know if anyone's really going to be favorites against the 2-time champions. I think the only team you could even have arguments for that would be favorites against the next night would be Pause Up. But this isn't Pause Up, this is Torrent Corp, a team that, again, this is their first time in the Pinnacle Cup, their first time in this top division. And so far, at least in the round of 12, playoffs has not been exactly too kind to this team, and again, so often we see teams from that lower group. Well, so far this season, we've seen a lot of teams from that lower group win the important round of 12 matchups. Of course, Torrent Corp have just the same chance as 100x Knight do to make top 8 and to take the quarterfinals against the Creation Station. I'm sure Creation Station would love to play either of these two teams. I mean, in theory, I think they'd love to see 100x Knight, again, the team that beat them last season in the Grand Finals. You know, that's a team that they have a grudge against right now. But so far, nothing confirmed, as Manny LR will take down the field and find Jared! And a 3rd goal for 100x Knight! Well, that is a pristine effort from Manny LR. And a Batmobile as well. We don't see a lot of players at this rank level even play in flat cars, nonetheless a Batmobile. I think it's a bit of a sleeper car, though. I love the Batmobile personally. It's one of the cars I like to play with often. Of course, putting it to good use, really getting some power off that front end. One of the things that Batmobile, I think, does really well is that you can kind of see where the edges are of that car. It's just a powerful hitbox. It's definitely one where you can reach balls quite quickly. And in races of the ball, you can be that faster player with the longer car like that. 100x Knight, though, have been looking pretty good, and for Periscope as well, this has got to feel pretty good for him. I mean, he's already played in 1 Grand Finals this season, that being in the solo series, as that's going to fall in for Daly as the first goal of the night for Torrent Corp. As a 50-50 goes a bit errant. But again, for Periscope, he's played in the Grand Finals already this season in the solo series. He was in the Pinnacle Cup, lost to Ajoshi in a rather impressive 4-2 loss. I mean, that was impressive to say for Jared. I mean, I don't think a lot of people expected him to really put up much of a battle to Ajoshi. And yet he proved that he absolutely deserved his Grand Finals position. Of course, no win there, though, and Periscope's going to hope for a little bit better here in 3v3, the mode that he is, at least so far in ATS, been the dominant force in. And the challenge won by Manny LR. Daly will take it back, though, for Torrent Corp, and maybe a little bit of offense here for the blue side. It is the only team left in this bracket on that Torrent Core, the only team I think playing in this division on the Torrent Core organization. It's not the only team still fighting for a win. I mean, there's actually 2, I believe, Torrent Core teams in the top 8 of the Soul's Path Phoenix Cup. Those playoffs will be this Sunday, February 1st. You can catch the grand finals on this channel. But yeah, they have 2 teams, I believe, from Torrent Core still in the top 8 for that division. Torrent Typhoon being of particular notice, and that division being one of the teams that is definitely a high seed for that bracket. As a bit of an awkward play there. July's going to look to keep things going. Jared will win the challenge. And Onyx Knight will keep things out. Per scope. Flip reset. Will leave things for Jared. A bit of a fake play there. And Onyx Knight, again, individually, they're so individually talented. Torrent Core really has to respect that out of them. They just mechanically aren't going to be the better team in this matchup. They know that as well. It really comes down to that team chemistry. That's something that Torrent Core is good at. Although that hasn't exactly saved a lot of teams against Onyx Knight in playoffs. As it will be Manny. Bit of an awkward play there, but Torrent Core got a bit fooled. Manny Allure will leave things. First scope's already up. And will play that challenge. Jared. 2-time playoffs MVP. A bit quiet this game, but don't be surprised if he shows up for Onyx Knight when they need him in that final bracket. He's definitely a player who seems to play at his best when the pressure is high. And again, his individual ability, his playstyle really benefits playing on a team like Onyx Knight because he is a very good one-for-one player, maybe even better than Perscope. That's maybe arguably better than Perscope. He's often played for Onyx Knight in the Paradise Cup as the 1v1 representative. And again, on a team like this where your individual talent can really rule, Jared often finds success. But for this game, he hasn't had to do too much. It's Onyx Knight with the victory, and gotta give credit Manny Allure with the stronger performance. 2 goals, 1 assist, 100% goal participation. That is something that Manny Allure does not shy away from. He's made pretty deep RLCS runs before, made top 32. I believe with I want to say with Perscope in the Last Chance qualifier not too long ago. Definitely someone who's no stranger to high pressure situations. Well, game 1 will go to Onyx Knight. For Torrent Core, definitely a difficult loss to handle. I mean, you're the underdogs, you gotta come in hot. That was not it for them. And you really have to think that for Torrent Core, I mean, this is probably a worst case matchup for them in the round of 12. You're talking about playing against the 2-time league champions, a team that you didn't even expect to have to play in the round of 12 in this tournament. Torrent Core, unfortunately, that's where they're stuck that's what they're stuck doing right now. Single elimination, meaning you don't get any better opportunities here. You win or you don't. It's as simple as that. And your whole season rests on it. For both these teams, again, having played in the regular season all the way back in week 1. Proved to be close, but again, that was regular season Onyx Knight. This is playoffs on Onyx Knight, and playoffs on Onyx Knight, again, just does not lose. They do not find ways to win, even when maybe things aren't looking the best for them. You can never really doubt what this Onyx Knight roster can do. As for now, though, just looking to book a spot in the top 8. As challenge played by Manny Allure. We'll actually have a really nice catch of that one. Perscope's waiting across. Demo from Manny. We'll find Perscope infield to Jared. A bit of a bad pass, though, and Daly will leave things rolling. It is just off the bar, though. Perscope gets enough on this one. And he'll keep chasing after it as Torrent Core apply a little bit more pressure. Demo from Daly will be July. Back to Vulpix. It's infield for July. And there's nobody back for next night. Torrent Core with the first lead of the series. And July, who got that touch, but it's the demo from Daly that makes it happen. A smokescreen which confuses the Knight defense. And the only representative for X35 Esports getting their fair share of battles. Torrent Core proving they are going to stick around here, and again, a team that is definitely built on team chemistry. Going to need to really use it here. As Onyx Knight will play this one. Not a great touch from Jared, though. He'll defend July, but so far it's been mostly defense for for the 135 esports side. Briscoe will win that play. Daly. Jared. Up goes Manuelar. And by the way, I mentioned earlier how I didn't know if Onyx Knight played together or not. I know for a fact, actually, by the way, they definitely don't, because Briscoe's on Team Silenced for RLCS qualifiers. Specifically Team Silenced Academy. I know for a fact these players aren't playing, but they have in the past. As I mentioned again, Briscoe and Manuelar, not Briscoe, yeah, Briscoe and Manuelar have been teammates before. As Onyx Knight will clear. Briscoe finds Manuelar, and this is going to be off the back wall. Double tap for Jared! Oh, he made it look so easy! He made it look oh so easy. Manuelar finds Jared, and July completely out of position to stop it. Credits where it's due. There's no real shot there for July. He has to play that initial touch. If you give him that kind of space, you know Knight can score from there. So he had to play the pass. He had to make them make the move. He does, and yet Onyx Knight still get it done. That's just how good these players are, and how tough it is to beat them, as Jared makes it 2-1. The lead has been flipped, and of course, playoff Jared, as he tends to be, finds clutch goals for Onyx Knight. That's why he's been playoffs MVP 2 seasons in a row. He scores when his team needs him to. And again, for a roster like Onyx Knight, just looking to get into that top 8, get into that next series. They can play from a top 8 position with everybody at 1 life. Again, they did it the last 2 seasons. They've had to play with 1 life in the final bracket. That isn't changing, as it will be in field. Jared stopped by Daly. Up goes Briscoe. Wins the challenge. Manuelar will find the goal! And it's 3-1. Manuelar with a wide open play, a double commit from Torrent makes it way too easy. July and Vulpix not on the same page. And for Onyx Knight, that's just far too easy for them. Torrent now really starting to fall apart at the seams. Onyx Knight are making this a mechanical matchup, and that's just a match that Torrent won't win. If Torrent has any hopes of taking the series, they've got to change the trajectory of this series. They've got to change what this series is relying on. Right now, it's relying on mechanics. Knight's going to beat Torrent on that every single time. Torrent has got to find a way to even the matches and even up the playing field. As Vulpix, oh, what a shot! Oh, that's one way to do it. And I think initially he was even threatening the potential bump attempt in front. But credit to him, he realizes he doesn't really have a bump in play there. The better option, wait upfield, pull up and go for the shot instead. He does, and Torrent ready for it. But Knight were not, and well, great play from Vulpix. That's exactly what you need from your captain. In a match as difficult as this, you need them to stand up tall, to get the clutch plays for your team. Great performance so far from Vulpix, as it will be Jared now. Has the extra flip, will use it too. Double commit for Torrent. There is nobody back. Manuelar doesn't have enough on this one. It's going to be a simple clear here for Daly. Oh, but not very simple. Jared for 2. A hat trick for Jaredino. And Onyx Knight have got to be pretty disappointed right now. I mean, it just does not seem to be getting better for them. As Manuelar trying to play this one across. Oh, Perscope on a demo. Jared. We'll have a flip, but Vulpix has the clear. It is now Manuelar. Off the back wall. Demo should make it and will make it 5-2. Well, Torrent had a glimmer of hope with that redirect from Vulpix, but man, Jared has just completely shut that down. He had the first 2 goals of the game, and now he's, for understanding, now he has the 2 most recent. And he is just laying it all down on Torrent Core. And for a guy who, again, I thought was a bit quiet last game, well, he is definitely not quiet this game. This is about as loud as you can be. I mean, this is essentially a statement to Torrent Core that Onyx Knight do not consider them a real threat at this point. There's an X-Knight team that likes to score a lot, but in playoffs, oftentimes you'll see them win by relatively small margins, be willing to take that closer battle. Not here, though. Jared running away with this game, literally. It's 6-2, and he's got 5 goals on 6 shots. This one a little bit easier than the last one, though. A whiff for Daly. But the damage has already been done by Jared. That goal, just an exclamation point to really nail home the message if it hasn't been already. And X-Knight, right now, do not consider Torrent Corp much of a threat. And to be fair, I don't really know if they consider any team they're playing against this tournament much of a threat. This is a roster that has historically been extremely confident, no matter who they play against. But for Torrent Corp, at least, just in the simple ways, they've been completely manhandled this game, and Jared doing what Jared does so often in playoffs, and that is score a bunch of goals. Really didn't make this game close at all. Now the series 2-0, and now you gotta ask Torrent Corp the question of if they're going to call a tactical timeout or not. We're getting to the point where that calling it might be a reasonable option. I mean, if they don't call here, if they lose game 3, they have to essentially call it. You'd think. Of course, they can opt not to in a series like this, but I mean, this is a rough loss for this team. They need to completely change things around, and Vulpix, who kind of trying to lead this roster, had a goal and assist, was involved in every play on offense. You gotta find a way to kind of get that confidence back in this team. This is a kind of loss that really drains mentality, drains that momentum. You gotta bring confidence back any way you can here if you're Vulpix, and for Torrent Corp, you gotta find a way to adjust this match, because right now it is a mechanical battle. That's one that Jared's going to win. You gotta find a way to turn things around. You gotta find an opening. Gotta find a different way to attack on the next night. So far, they have not been able to find the answer. As no tactical timeout will be called here, Torrent Corp is going to go into game number 3 now. They'll hold their tactical timeouts, instead taking the entire minute in between games to talk things out. And for all of you watching again, reminder, this is elimination on the line for these teams. Whoever loses this, we will not see them in the top 8. We will not see them for the rest of the season. They'll be out just like that. And I mean, considering the prize pool this season, $300, all for the top 2 teams. This has been a difficult match so far for Torrent Corp. As I said, I think this is a worst case scenario. This is a worst case matchup for them. But against teams like X-Knight, you gotta find ways to put the pressure on them. You gotta find ways to beat them. Single elimination is not exactly a format that's known to be kind. And for X-Knight, of course, a team that has not exactly had a very good regular season, hasn't had a great looking Swiss qualifier either. Really barely scraping by to get to this point. But again, now they're in the top 12, not in the final bracket. This is where X-Knight really is able to find their true X factor, and that is playing under pressure. But now, though, Torrent Corp just trying to hold on. I've got to get out of defense first, and that's not going to be exactly easy. As a player in front, Manuel trying to force one through. Saved away by July, but he won't get the clear either, so Knight's already back on offense. Vulpix jumping. Daly did it as well. This will be room for Torrent Corp. Cleared back by Manuel. Vulpix is up, but it's Manny. Jared won't have this one. Daly has the clear. We'll send this one away. Briscoe looking for that psycho off the back wall. He won't get it. And Torrent Corp will once again clear it away, but not able to get through that midfield all that easily. Oh, what a touch! Is that in for Manny? Oh my goodness! Sometimes you ask if it's maybe too easy for Manny Alar. What even is that? This is the playoff. This is the final bracket. Manny Alar. It's like his own playground here. No, I've been here in the Ascent Tournament Series since the first season, since Season 0, even before that, since we began. I don't think I've ever seen a goal quite like that before. I've definitely seen players attempt stuff like that, but never a turtle flick from that far out and executed that perfectly. I wonder if it's all too easy for Manuel at this point. I mean, this is top 12. This is the final bracket. I mean, your whole season's on the line and you're doing that? X-Knight I mean, I mentioned before from last game, they didn't really consider this team much of a threat. I don't know what to think of that shot from Pinnacle, but that's going to be on the highlight reels at the end of the night. You know, that's for certain. As the offense continues for the next night. Only one goal up. They'd love to have another one. We'll see if they can be any bit as dominant as they were last game. As an infield play, Torrent Core is up for it as July leaves it for Vulpix, and a huge save for Perscope. It's shot wide by Daly. He'll go again and just leave this one laying for July. Everybody's up, and July will get the goal. Knight sent the field up, the players upfield for Scope. Misjudged where July was on that play and realized a bit late he wasn't going to get there. Bit of an easy one for Torrent Core, and Eric's Knights, while they, again, may be playing very confidently, have not exactly been able to maintain the same kind of dominance they had this game than they did last game. And right now, Perscope trying to find Manny Alar. That one will not be made contact with, but oh my goodness, Perscope! Well, that's that one-foot ability that we see on full display. Cutback move that almost beats out the Torrent Core defense as Jared's going to be out of position. Manny Alar will clear, and here goes Jared with a fake. Finds Perscope. Manny Alar right behind him. Vulpix will have this one. Flicks downfield. Oh, next night I think it was meant to be a clear there from Manny, but said he ran into his own teammate, and now here comes an effort. That's wide. Jared. Great control. Another musty flick downfield. This one just to get rid of pressure, though. Give his team some time to get back up to offense and get back up to speed. July. Back wall. Jared, who he doesn't get everything on that as he wanted to, but he won't need to here as off the back wall. He's set up for the double tap, and you know he can hit from that distance. It'll go across the goal without any danger from Eric's Knight in front. But you can tell a little bit of a change of pace now. Knight trying to pick up the speed. Tied game, still much of a battle here. Still a lot of a good battle here in game 3. They're looking to give Torrent Core no advantages here in this series. As a demo will make things a little bit easier for Torrent Core. Daly, I like that decision. Back to Vulpix. He doesn't handle it well though. It's Daly. Oh, he still gets it. Well, X Knight didn't see the option in front. And for Torrent Core, a lead late in game 3. Jared, July, it's Manular, back pass to Perscope. Jared up again. He's got room. He's got the net. Oh, he pinched it wide. Manny Alar, it's on. And it's a huge play for Daly. He'll keep it out of the net for now. Knight's got to go all the way back to defense just to recover. Manny Alar again. Jared upfield trying to force one out from July. That one won't go anywhere. This might, though, as everybody up. Manny Alar. He'll leave it in front. Everybody flying for X Knight. Manny Alar again. And Vulpix saves the day. July to clear. Perscope trying to hold it. But Torrent Core will take game 3. They're still in this series. They're still battling. X Knight are not in the clear just yet. Oh, a big battle here for Torrent Core. Of course, this series is still not over, and you still have a lot of questions, but again, for Jared, another quiet game. Only 3 shots in this game. Usually the player I think that scores the most goals for this team in playoffs, not really performing as you expect him to tonight. X Knight, they gotta find someone else to really take that offensive route. It seems like Manny Alar wants to do it here. 8 shots this game. He, of course, had that insane goal from the midfield earlier. Of course, still has quite a difficult battle ahead of him. And of course, for X Knight, still no guarantees. They lose this, their run is over just like that. The Creation Station obviously will play against the winner in the quarterfinals. Again, that's going to be the 10 p.m. Eastern matchup on February 6th. That's a Friday, February 6th. That'll be the last match of the evening. Again, if X Knight, if they can win this, it's a rematch from last season's grand finals. For now, though, Onyx Knight will have a lot to prove here in this game. Obviously, to prove that last game was only a fluke. It was close. Still, though, close wins are wins for Torrent Corp. I don't think they're exactly going to be a team that will win by a lot of goals in a match like this, and I don't think they're really trying to either. And they just want wins. They just want games. They don't really care how close it is. Against Onyx Knight, every win is a huge victory. But of course, they're looking for the ultimate prize, which is a spot in the final bracket, a spot to still compete for that $200 prize pool, and of course, the title of ATS champions. And hey, what better team to beat than the team that won in the last 2 seasons? The team that, so far, nobody seems to have figured out, as I almost got a goal there on Onyx Knight. That one just off the crossbar. Torrent Corp will send it away, but Onyx 35 definitely getting close to getting that opening goal here in Game 4. As Vulpix. Play won by Manialar. Jared's gonna get up for it. He didn't read that correctly, and it was almost a goal for July. It's a little bit faster. He beats Perscope to that, but Onyx Knight were ready. And now, look at this passing. Manialar has found Jared in a lot of open room. He'll go for the flip resets. July reads that one, and Manialar is all alone now. Vulpix is up. July, I think, was going for the bump attempt initially, left it. And a bit of a botched play there. You want Vulpix in that position to slow down. You don't want him to rush the shot there. Give July some room to go for the bump to put Onyx Knight in a bit of a tougher position. Instead, they rush the shot there. And no, Arik, it's not because we're making a 6-7 joke, although, I mean, you can make one here. The reason why is if anyone's from the US, you'll know what February 8th is. That's the Super Bowl. We're not going to be running during the Super Bowl. As Vulpix is going to find a goal here. Big opener for Torrent Corp in Game 4. And hey, they're now threatening to tie the series after losing the first 2 games. A strong play midfield. Onyx Knight will not be able to keep that one clean. As Manny LR again. Oh, he's got a great last touch. Vulpix will read it, though. And right now for Onyx Knight, they need to find some way to get in front of the net and some way to really find each other. Torrent Corp is getting a lot more confident now, and that means they're willing to challenge earlier and more aggressively, but that is going to be a huge opening. Jared with a goal that I must say I did not feel like was earned for him here. Vulpix missed, and then July missed, and that one should be cleaned up for Torrent Corp, but instead it bounces right in. Yeah, don't worry, Arik, I understand. You're from, I understand you're not from the US. Super Bowl is probably not nearly as important for you as it is for, obviously, people that live in the United States. But yeah, we're not running during that event. No chance. Because initially it was meant to be the 7th and the 8th, but of course that got changed quite quickly. As for Torrent Corp in field, having to play a bit of defense there, a bit of an awkward play though. Everybody sort of committed at one point out there, and it left the net a bit open. Surprised Onyx Knight more diligent in cleaning that one up. As a pinch, well, an attempted pinch for July, didn't go very far. Perscope, oh, I love that play, gets right through him. But again, Knight not confident up to challenge. A lot more respect here given to Torrent Corp. I think a lot of it has to do with the situation that they're in right now. Tied game with 2 minutes to go. You're seeing a couple of times where Onyx Knight are jumping at each other. I wonder if there's a bit of mistrust in these Onyx Knight rotations. Because if there is, that can really be exploited by a team like Torrent Corp, who, again, are a team that have solid rotations. This is definitely a rotational-based team. As redirected downfield, Daly's going to hold on to this one. Jared. He'll play on that one. And it will be easy clear for Vulpix. Would have liked him to slow things down, try to take the dribble out. He had a lot more room than he thought he did. Still, though, Torrent Corp can make something work out of this play. As I love that play. Triple commit, though, from Knight. They'll all push up for this thing, so now it's a race just to get back in time. Vulpix. No boost left. Will still win the play on Manialar. Jared. Up goes Perscope. Manialar now to follow. He'll win this play. No touch past Vulpix, though. Jared and Knight slowly pushing their way through. Perscope! Oh, it's beautiful! Absolutely beautiful from Perscope, and even Torrent Core had to respect it. A shot that really never looked like going in until he got to it. But again, knowing these players, that is the kind of play that 100x Knight can pull out of nowhere. It's one of the reasons why this team's so scary on offense, because they can do that stuff. And now inside the final minute, an incredible redirect from Perscope could be the goal to win this game and get Knight's triple match points. Manuel though looks to make it a sure deal. Will throw one in front, stopped by Vulpix. And Perscope overcommitted a bit on that play. Will have to go back to defense. As July's touch. Daly not up in time. And Torrent Core now really pushed for time. July to clear. Well, Manuel got chipped along the way there by a chasing Daly. Infield pass. Ooh, July didn't see it. If he did, I think he could have turned around and potentially at least put some pressure on that play for Manuel. Vulpix now, will be beat, and it will be Jared in front of the goal for Torrent Core. It's not a good place for them, and Knight throws it back in. It's Jared to play cleanup. And 100x Knight to secure game 4 with that. It's a 3-1 series lead now for the two-time champions. Triple match point here against the Torrent Core side that is, again, playing well against Knight. This is a close game once more, but they just couldn't seem to find it. And I think Torrent Core got a bit carried away with some of their clears in this game. I want to see them have more control. I want to see them dominate the field more. And I want to see specifically Vulpix just take his time. I feel like he's rushing a couple touches here in the midfield, and Torrent Core unable to keep possession as a result, because so often we see Vulpix when he has the ball, just send it away, clear it, try to reset with some boost. You're not going to exactly have a ton of boost against Knights. I want to see him, you know, feel a bit comfortable, play with comfortability, and just take a couple more dribbles through the midfield. As for Torrent Core, though, if they have any want to play a tactical timeout, now's the time you do it. It seems like no call for Torrent Core. They want to go right back in, so again, seems like they don't want to take a timeout call before game number 5. Oh no, they just called it here. So they are going to call their tactical timeout right now, so extra minutes given to Torrent Core in between the game. In fact, that timeout was going to lead us into the 1 hour mark. An extra minute called by Torrent Core. You are allowed one of these per best of 7. I was initially surprised to see them not take one. But in a match like this, you are allowed to take it. Again, these best of 7s are allowed to take it. Of course, if you can make it into the top 8, you're allowed to use it for every single series you're in the top 8. For Torrent Core, though, I mean, this is it. Now or never. Win or go home. And boy, 100x Knight's going to make things a little bit more difficult for them here. I mean, they've done a good job so far at putting on the pressure, making life tough. You have to wonder if Torrent Core can pull this thing back. Of course, they have to be under the belief that they can. As timeout has now expired, we'll get these players back in the lobby for game number 5. The extra minute is over. 100x Knight still keep their timeout as we go to the series, so they could play one if needed later in the matchup, but they're just looking to end the match right here. And why not? You've got the perfect place to do it. Torrent Core now, it's win or see your season end in the top in the round of 12. For 100x Knight, a team again has won the last 2 seasons. Boy, what a surprise it would be to not see them in the final bracket, or I should say in the top 8. But a team that has never lost in the final bracket with this specific roster. Looking to keep it that way for now as the Creation Station awaits their next matchup from this series. 100x Knights, if they can get themselves an early lead, as they have so often this series, I'll put themselves in a perfect spot to really waste the time on a Torrent Core. And, of course, get that win, get through to the top 8, and worry about next Friday. As a reminder for all of you, of course, this is not the last round of 12 matchup. We'll have Dino Squad later in the week, as they'll be, of course, one of the lower seeded teams in this entire tournament. They got their round of 12 matchup later on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. At least as things stand, it's 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Is the call, as they'll be playing against Beantop. So yeah, Beantop Dino Squad will be that last round of 12 matchup, because again, it's on this stream on Saturday. But as things stand, Onyx Knight just trying to book their spot here. That's not a good double commit, and Vulpix, well, he'll have it easy here. We've seen a couple moments where two players of Onyx Knight have ran into each other. This is finally going to be one that costs them, as Jared and Periscope in the same spot, both with the same idea. And there you just need to communicate. One player's got to go, the other one's got to stay. A poor collective decision for Onyx Knights, and if one of those players goes, I don't think you see Torrent Corp jump on that. It's a relatively routine play, but because both go, they mess each other up, and they make things way too easy for the Torrent Corp captain. Oh, now they've really pushed high, a bit of an overcommit here. Jared was expecting a touch from Manular, and, well, it will go to Periscope! Well, that's going to fall in! Oh, it's a bit of an odd play here. Vulpix just trying to get rid of it, in July, trying to cut across with the block, ran into Daly. And that little bit of extra time gave Periscope all he needed. He's not going to miss from that range if you don't challenge him. And July, again, seeing what was going to happen, runs into his own teammates. Nothing he can do to stop it after that happened. Onyx Knight now with a lead, with the tie game, but the lead will fall back to Torrent Corp. It's Daly who will steal another one off a double commit from Onyx Knight. Periscope and Jared running the same play. The Periscope again in the middle of it at the wrong time, and Onyx Knight gonna find ways to communicate right now. 2 goals given up by very preventable rotational errors. As a play across to Manular. And Periscope gonna leave things will be Jared, and reminder for, and again, and I think one thing to notice for Onyx Knight is, again, that with those kind of mistakes against Corp, obviously they've gotten away with it, but you can't imagine that they'll get away with it with teams like Creation Station if they're to make it that far. Really a bit of a concerning sign for this team if they're not on the same page. I mean, that Creation Station team was a team that can send them to Game 6 last season in the Grand Finals. Team that I think has actually improved somewhat this season. I think if you're Onyx Knight, you're putting yourself under a lot of pressure, and you're really going to have a tough time playing defensive, playing those double commits against the Creation Station. As Periscope will play it across, cleared all the way over to Manular. He's got a perfect angle at it, but unable to get enough to shoot that one. Torrent Corp will team pinch it out. As Manny again. Demo in July will be Jared. Won't have this one. It's Vulpix. Periscope to play. Jared. Oh, he's got this. Double and down, but kept away. And here goes Daly. One-on-one. Unable to get through Periscope. He shot a bit early there. And now Onyx Knight will go on the aggressive. Manular. Jared. Periscope. With room. Not a lot of it though, and he'll fake one through July. Now he gets through Vulpix. Last one back is Daly. July will recover, but it's a play across to Jared. Not on the same page. He won't be able to get the shot off in time. And now, here goes a play. Daly whiffed on that one, so more offense for Onyx Knights. Corp made a really big mistake there, not getting that ball out when they had the chance to. As Manular double tap to the back wall. Double commit for Torrent Corp. That defense starting to unravel as Jared pass across. Manular with it. He may be giving credit to the goal, but this has got to be old Jared right here. Just spearheads Vulpix. And he makes this so easy for his teammates. Without that bump, Manular doesn't go for that nearly as confidently. He doesn't get the shot off. Phoenix Knight play it is now a fake kickoff for Scope. Going in for the bump. This is a called play for Phoenix Knight. Will lead to an effort from Manular, but not enough on it. As now, play towards net. For Scope gets there. Oh, and a bit of a awkward play. Daly was expecting Manular to be the one to go for that one. As here goes Jared. Oh, what a great flip reset! Vulpix bails out the standing July as he wasn't ready for that one, and now time expiring in regulation. Periscope kept up by Jared. It is Daly looking to ground this thing. Onyx Knight don't want to though. They'll go across the field. Periscope. This will hit the floor. Overtime in Game 5, and for Onyx Knight, the chance to book a top 8 spot. Rests in getting the next goal here, as Jared will do it right there and then. Onyx Knight have booked a spot in the final top 8. They had to battle for it. They had to earn it, but earn it they will. Top 8 secured for Onyx Knight for a 3rd straight season. Of course, the challenge has only just begun for this team. Their matchup in the quarterfinals will be against the Creation Station. Not an easy team to compete against for certain, but for the next Knights, they do get the win in a 4-1 fashion. Again, they'll be playing Creation Station in the last match of the quarterfinals. They had to earn it, though. Torrent definitely had a valiant effort, but in a matchup like this, it's so tough to beat Onyx Knight in playoffs like this. This is a team that, again, just does not lose when the position calls for it, when they're in this kind of spot. A 4-1 victory against the Torrent Core, and again, that means another low seed has won a matchup. Of course, I think this one was a little bit more predictable, but they get the win. They'll have the Creation Station in the quarterfinals. Onyx Knight definitely deserve the win that they have here. As again, congrats to them. Huge performance. That is not an easy thing to do. As for us on stream, that is it for us here on stream for now. We're going to be going and raiding out. I appreciate all of you for joining in. Congrats on Onyx Knight. We'll be again seeing them on next Friday, February 6th, 10 p.m. Eastern Time against it. But reminder, on Saturday, Beantop Dino Squad at 4 p.m. Eastern Time will be the last round of 12 matchup on this stream as well. For now, though, have a great night, everybody. Take care. It was great seeing you all. It was great streaming for all of you. We'll be back on Saturday with more action.